You might have noticed that the majority of the content on this channel is Metallica related. Not all, but most of it, yeah. That's because I'm a huge Metallica fan. But here's the weird part. I would call it even a paradox. Whenever a Bulavira song is released or I play some original riff, people often say, "That sounds like Megadeth." I should specify if it's a heavy distortion guitar riff. If it's, say, a clean arpeggio or some acoustic part, James Hetfield's influence is undeniable there. And if it's a bass part, yeah, I'm more of a bassist, people say that's not Cliff Burton, who actually is the reason this channel exists, but Tool. Who I do appreciate, but I guess I have never listened to them entirely, actually. That's another paradox, by the way. Anyway, I do admire Mustaine, but I never was a big fan of his songwriting, etc., unlike, say, Hetfield. Metallica sure has a lot of great riffs. I would even dare saying they have more classic riffs than Megadeth. However, for some reason, whenever a riff descends from the ether onto me, it smells like Mustaine. And tell me in the comments if you can relate to this. What makes a riff smell have a flavor of Mustaine? The easy answer would be, say it with me, chromatics. Which is, put simple, playing all the notes without skipping. There's few out of Megadeth's almost 200 tracks that don't have at least one occurrence of this or this. As a particular case of the chromastainisms is the James Bond progression, which appears in a bunch of Megadeth tracks. And so, if your metal riff has this or this, people would say, yeah, that's Megadeth. Why are you ripping them off? Mustaine, for once, did not invent the chromatics, but sure loves them, and I also like them, partially because of the band and the guitarist in question, but also they're just, fun to play. They're the convenient transition between chords and position, and they just sound like classic thrash and groove metal, which is to me is the best metal. Push like if you agree. Does Metallica use the chromatics? Of course, but more like a tactical tool. And not a signature move that transcends decades, so to speak. For Metallica, that would be, say, the 6-5-3-5 progression on the lowest. I even heard someone label that as the dead metal pattern. Whatever, I kind of agree that that's become kind of stock. But funny that if you transpose that dead metal lick down 3 half steps to 3-2-0-2, now it sounds more like Megadeth for some reason. Like, I never received more of the "that sounds like Megadeth" than on this one. Well, a lot of this must be from the over-the-top tone with lots of gains and mids, which is kind of classic 80s tone, and especially the World Needs a Hero album from 2001, the comeback of Megadeth, and a really underappreciated one, yeah. But also, which was a huge discovery for me recently, once I thought about it. Metallica rarely does use the F sharp as the primary key, apart from modulations like in the Master of Puppets verse. And the only such main riffs in Metallica from their over 100 songs are like Trapped on the Rise, Through the Never, and Lord of Summer. Meanwhile, the other band be like Take No Prisoners, Head Crusher, Black Friday, Something That I'm Not, which is a diss track about Lars, if you didn't know about it, and my favorite, Kick the Chair. But again, it's such a convenient key for the guitarist because this has this open E, involved, which makes for the heaviest 7 to root transition on the standard tune guitar. In the key of E, that would be from 5 to 7 on the A string. But here we have 0-2, basically the heaviest you can go on the standard tune guitar. And it's weird that Metallica does not utilize it more. Their default approach is to play on the open E. That's something that even Bob Rock called them out about, like, are you playing some other keys? Like, that's why they down-tuned Sad But True and they got it failed. But Through the Never has the main riff in F sharp, but then they still go with the open E in the verse. And I want to say huge дякую, thank you to all who support me via the memberships, donations, Patreon, etc. You are the main reason why I'm still making all of this. And yeah, some classic metal riffs are in this key, say Crazy Train and Almost Metal, the Immigrant Song, basically the blueprint for the 0-2. So, in this particular riff, I appreciate that you say it sounds like Megadeth, the top Megadeth, but it's more of like the chromatics and the tone that contribute to the Mustaine smell, and not the position. But listen to this one, and tell me which Megadeth song could be the father to this bastard. That's right, that's Andriy again. Despite the fact that I played in drop D and my patterns were completely different, but it just feels Andriy again, right? Arpeggio on the distortion with some palm muting is a cool trick and somewhat underused in metal. Maybe that's a good thing. And Megadeth doesn't use it frequently, and still more frequently than Metallica uses it. Say In My Darkest Tower, the double of the acoustic part. The Killing Road, what a riff. And Andriy again, at least the first part of it. But what makes these similar is not the arpeggio and everything, but more of the accents. But again, these are the simple accents that are used a lot in other songs. So yeah, maybe there's this trick how to sound like Megadeth. Maybe there's no paradox here, more like illusion and bias, because I'm posting to you and you love Megadeth, and these riffs are great. I'm talking about my riffs, but Megadeth too. And so we've come full circle and arrived where we left. If you want to sound like Megadeth, the most concrete proven way would be use the freaking chromatics as something general. Maybe some little tactical bits would be like using the upstrokes on the chords.
I don't know, it's like some Dave does some weird stuff.
Some, see spider chord if you are a pervert. And something else, write in the comments. I sure miss some of the tricks that Mustaine uses to give his music the flavor. And so with this new perspective, you can give these riffs another try. You can support me via the links in the description. And be metal, frets.